Yes, and we are live. Yes, we are live on Let's Think Podcast. And tonight, don't forget to support the Fez Dealer. Get your urban Islamic experience with the Fez Dealer. Fezes, headwear, scarves, turbans, whatever you need. Get your Islamic experience, your urban Islamic experience with the Fez Dealer. But you know how we do. I must do this. I must rise, giving all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Moorish Movement Garvey. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to my leadership brother El Portisel and my grand sheikess, Sister M Portisel. Honors to their staff. And honors to all leadership, past, present, and future. And honors to all, and I mean all, participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting fallen humanity. I'm your host, Sheikh 7 Islam now. My co-host Jarvis McGriffell. He's my brother always handling business. And we might have another co-host pop up. But either way, we got our brothers today. We got our brothers on the platform today. Abdullah Bey and brother Yisrael Bey. Yisrael Bey. Let me say that right. Yisrael Bey. Let me get that right. And we welcome our brothers to the platform. I'm pretty sure that somebody in the chat, somebody, that's gonna be in the comments today, know of both of these brothers. And I'm here to say I know of both of these brothers. I've watched their presentations, and they have a presentation to give us. And I said, let's go, because that's what we do. We bring the science, we bring the perspectives, we bring the angles. So let me allow myself to stand down and speak to our brother Abdullah Bey. Brother Abdullah Bey, please introduce yourself, because you're introducing you to the platform. And after
Yes,
yourself, Israel Bey, please give us an introduction.
absolutely, man. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, brother, for having us on this platform. This is our first time on this platform. We will be doing a presentation. We actually did this presentation on Wednesday on New York Perspective Talk Show, and also Wednesday of last week, and we did it on Monday or yesterday, last night on the Moroccan. It was on Magnus Crystal Pyramids YouTube. So we thought it was fitting to do the same topic on on Let's Think podcast. And brother, a friend of
Absolutely.
mine, that in fact Taj and I have known this brother Ramin Dean for about 27 years. Introduced me to Sheikh 7, Sheikh 7 Ill. So I think I want to reach out, but shout out to Ramin Dean, brother. Thank you for the contact. Connect, brother. We greatly appreciate you. Like I said, Taj and I've known us about 20, since he was 16 years old. I was about 27 years old when we met him. So,
And Islam to the brother
it,
Ty. Islam to the brother Ty.
yes.
You know,
So
let
quite
me
a few
go.
people know me, from various platforms at 33 years. I met Taj Bey 33 years ago, on in October 1993. So that's 33 years ago this month. So
Absolutely.
Israel, we're gonna Israel will do his introduction and we'll share the screen and we'll get right to it.
Yes, sir.
Peace, everybody. I'm Yisrael Bey. Been Moorish conscious since the end of 2016, so for about a good 9 years now. But as far as being grounded in proper concepts and being Moorish conscious, it's been a good 2 years,
Yes,
3 years.
yes. Mm-hmm.
For the past 2 years, learning how to examine evidence, learning what evidence is, so we're basically going to break down the methods on how to examine evidence. So proper methodology on examining evidence using evidentiary standards. That's what the class today will be about.
Islam.
All right. So he's going to share the screen. Sheik.
Yes, sir. Let's get to it. Islam to the audience. Islam to the chat. Before we go, Islam to the chat. Islam. I may not have time to call everybody's name out right now, but we'll get to you. We'll get to that towards the end so our brothers can present. They have their time is valuable. Time is valuable at this point. So Islam, peace. Let's go.
All right.
Islam, peace. Let's go.
So the name of this presentation, is Addressing the Misconceptions at Large within the Moorish Movement using evidentiary standards. Misconceptions equal lack of knowledge.
Misconceptions at large within the
Moorish Movement using evidentiary standards.
There's a feedback about 7. There's a feedback. All right, let's stop. I go ahead, Israel.
All right, so today's presentation is Addressing the Misconceptions at Large within the Moorish Movement using evidentiary standards. Misconceptions equals lack of knowledge. The word misconception. The word misconception is a noun, and it means a false opinion. The word misconception broken down, prefix, mis, dash, meaning bad, wrong, prefix plus the prefix con, dash, meaning together or with, plus the root word kapir, meaning to take, which stems from the power root cap, dash, meaning to grasp. So misconception, meaning to grasp, it means grasp together. You're grasping information together that is wrong information. All right. So the false opinion, misconception means false opinion. So a false opinion. The word false is an adjective, meaning deceptive, deceitful, pretend, mistaken. See the word fail. The word fail is a verb, meaning be unsuccessful in accomplishing a purpose. From Latin, fallere, to trip, cause to fall. De Van traces it to root, meaning to stumble. From Sanskrit, scalate, to stumble. The word opinion is a noun. From Latin, opinionem, meaning opinion, conjecture, fancy, judge, suppose, opine. From root, op, dash, meaning to choose. See option. So false opinion is one choosing to stumble.
I want the audience to know that PI is an acronym for Proto-Indo-European.
Indeed, yeah. Thank you. What is evidence and what are evidentiary standards? Evidence. Evidence is explicit information shared by the communicator that is used to back up or to justify the dependability of a factual claim. In prescriptive arguments, evidence will be needed to support reasons that are factual claims. In descriptive arguments, evidence will be needed to directly support a descriptive conclusion. Legal application of evidentiary standards. Evidentiary standards are the legal principle that determine how much convincing evidence is required to prove a fact or a claim in court. Professional debate application of evidentiary standards. Evidentiary standards is the principle and criteria for evaluating the quality, relevance, and credibility of evidence presented to support a claim in an argument. So this is the cover page of a book titled Asking the Right Questions, A Guide to Critical Thinking, 11th edition, by M. Neil Brown and Stuart M. Keeley. And on the right side, we have the table of contents for Chapter 8 and Chapter 9. Chapter 8, how good is the evidence? Intuition, personal experience, case examples, testimonials, and appeals to authority. Page 92. The need for evidence, page 93. Locating factual claims, page 94. Sources of evidence, page 95. Intuition as evidence, page 96. Personal experience as evidence, page 97. Case examples as evidence, page 98. Testimonials as evidence, page 99. Appeals to authority as evidence, page 100. Using this critical question, page 102. Your academic writing and evidence, page 102. Practice exercises, page 103, and sample responses, page 104. Chapter 9. How good is the evidence? Personal observation, research studies, and analogies, page 106. Personal observation as evidence, page 106. Research studies as evidence, page 107. General problems with research findings, page 108. Generalizing from the research sample, page 112. Generalizing from the research measures, page 114. Bias surveys and questionnaires, page 115. Analogies as evidence, page 117. Identifying and comprehending analogies, page 117. Evaluating analogies, page 118. When you can most trust expert opinion, page 120. Research and the internet, page 121. Practice exercises, page 122, and sample responses, page 123. So y'all can look into this book, Asking the Right Questions, A Guide to Critical Thinking, 11th edition, for more detail on how, testing out evidence, learning what evidence is and how evidence is applied. So this is from chapter 8, Sources of Evidence. When should we accept a factual claim as dependable? There are 3 instances in which we will be most inclined to agree with a factual claim. Number 1, when the claim appears to be undisputed common knowledge, such as the claim, weightlifting increases muscular body mass. Number 2, when the claim is the conclusion from a well-reasoned argument. And number 3, when the claim is adequately supported by solid evidence. Our concerns in this chapter is the 3rd instance. Determining the adequacy of evidence requires us to ask, how good is the evidence? To answer this question, we must first ask, what do we mean by evidence? So attention, evidence is explicit information shared by the communicator that is used to back up or to justify the dependability of a factual claim. See chapter 3. In prospective arguments, evidence will be needed to support reasons that are factual claims. In descriptive arguments, evidence will be needed to directly support a descriptive conclusion. The quality of evidence depends on the kind of evidence it is. Thus, to evaluate evidence, we first need to ask, what kind of evidence is it? Knowing the kind of evidence tells us what questions we should ask. When used appropriately, each kind of evidence can be good evidence. It can help support an author's claim, like a gold prospector closely examining the gravel in her pan for potentially high-quality ore. We must closely examine the evidence to determine its quality. We want to know major kinds of evidence: intuition, personal experiences, case examples, testimonials, appeals to authorities or experts, personal observations, research studies, analogies. Does an author's evidence provide dependable support for her claim? Thus, we begin to evaluate evidence by asking, how good is the evidence? Always keep in the back of your mind that no evidence will be a slam dunk that gets the job done conclusively. So now we're going to get into the misconceptions at large within the Moorish movement. And we're going to use evidentiary standards to address these misconceptions. So the first misconception is the Moors established the United States federal government for themselves and the state governments for the Europeans.
All right, so Israel set the stage for the presentation. The subtitle being using evidentiary standards. So we're going to use evidentiary standards to analyze this claim. Remember, this is a claim now. It's not facts. It's a claim. The Moors established the United States federal government. Says what would be to to find out what information would one need to see whether this, to examine, to prove or disprove this claim. What do we need to examine to disprove or prove this claim? So Moors established the United States federal government. So what established the United States federal government? Right. The United States Constitution.
Elements.
So we would look at the minutes, or we look at the players involved. So we would go to the Articles of Confederation, because the Articles of Confederation, the 13 states, the Articles of Confederation was drafted in 1777 and ratified in 1781, and there's a signatory page that has the signatures of the delegates from the 13 states. So it will also examine the discussions leading up to the Constitutional Convention. So we wouldn't start at the Constitutional Convention. What are the players leading up to it? Because the Constitutional Convention did not happen in a vacuum, and it just happened. There were dynamics and discussions and matters that led to the Constitutional Convention. John Jay proposed that the Articles of Confederation be revised. There were issues regarding when the war ended, the Revolutionary War between the United States and Great Britain. The 1783 Definitive Peace Treaty between Great Britain and the United States ended the Revolutionary War. Now you had war debts. The United States had the war debts to pay. There were matters where there were several of the states violated the treaty. The Articles of Confederation, the way it's structured, where the states have more power, and we'll get into that a little later, where the states have more power in the Articles of Confederation. So we would examine those issues. Then we will then we'll look at the constitutional minutes. Now, what would be the first in the roll call? Because roll call is very important. Based in due process, you have to have a quorum to have a meeting. So roll call. So James Madison of Virginia, Alexander Hamilton of New York. It's not Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton, delegate of New York. It's not James Madison. It's James Madison, delegate of Virginia. Because they're not representing themselves. They're not there in their own capacity. They're there in a official capacity representing their respective states. So only delegates from the 13 states that signed the Articles of Confederation. Remember, the Articles of Confederation was still in force. They met to revise the Articles of Confederation. Keep that in mind. So we'll examine that. Then you have so Constitution is signed. There's signing the Constitution did not put it into force. It had to be ratified by the required number of states. So the delegates took the ratification procedures back to their respective states. The ratification procedures were drafted in August of 1787 at the Constitutional Convention. Delegates took their ratification procedures back to the several states. They had debates, ratification debates, the anti-federalists and federalists. So you have minutes of the ratification debates. Where the Moors? Where are the Moors fitting? Where's the evidence? This is the evidence that you would need to examine. All right, so yeah, so we'll because I think we'll have to wait. There's two or three other questions that relate to this, or misconceptions that relate to this.
So the next misconception at large: United States and the Moroccan Empire merged as one nation, and the evidence is the dual seal on the reverse side of the Federal Reserve note, aka the $1 bill.
All right. Once again, Israel's set the stage for this presentation by looking at the book, the table of content, chapter 8, chapter 9 of the book, asking the right question to guide to critical thinking. How good is the evidence? How good is the evidence? So let's look at the Federal Reserve note, the one what they call the $1 bill, the back. How good is the evidence? Because it's not a document, it's not an agreement. It's not a signed agreement. It's not. So keep in mind. So well, here it is, the Federal Reserve note. But where's the agreement? Like, that's not an agreement. An agreement has to. All right. Agreement has to exist. Where's the agreement, though? Where's the Declaration of Merger? Where's the Unification Treaty? All right, where's the agreement that brought them together as one? Where's the agreement between His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Morocco, and the United States that brought the United States and Morocco as one? The Unification Treaty. All right. You have East Germany, West Germany. There is an agreement called the Unification Treaty. What brought East Germany and West Germany? What reunited East Germany and West Germany? A unification treaty. Look it up. That's an actual instrument that we can examine. Not, oh yeah, here's an image. See, this is proof right here. This image here. Yeah, but that wouldn't be the unification treaty. Proof right here. So for 27 years, I used the back of the Federal Reserve note. Must have pulled it out hundreds of times. Pulled it out. I had it in my wallet. Pulled it out of my wallet. Took my wallet out of my pocket. Took the Federal Reserve note over maybe 200 or 300 times. And look, y'all, the Great Seal. See under the pyramid, the Great Seal. And then under the eagle of the United States. See the word one, and I'm like, yeah, this is evidence, is it? Is that evidence? Is that evidence? Is that a unification treaty that he just held up? Nope. Is that a declaration of merger? Nope. Is that the actual agreement that would bring two separate sovereign entities together as one? Is that it that he held up? Is that it?
Nah.
This is not rocket science. It's not. We have to overcome the misconceptions. That's why we must overcome the misconceptions. Yeah. All right, so we can go to the next one.
And these are misconceptions that are spreading around the Moorish movement. Like about
now I was part of it. I was part of spreading them. 27 years, thousands of people.
Mm-hmm. All right, another misconception at large. individual Moors can invoke the 1836 Peace and Friendship Treaty between the United States and the Moroccan Empire.
All right. You have what is known as a private right to action. Private right to action, non-private right to action. When you're looking at principles in the treaty, does the treaty convey a private right of action? No. The 1787 treaty, peace and friendship treaty between Morocco and the United States doesn't, nor does the 1836. Let me explain private rights of that. It doesn't convey a private right. So the answer is no. Individuals cannot. Not my opinion. Look at the treaty. It's not Abdullah Bey's opinion. Look at in the treaty, a Moorish consul, a United States consul, if a United States is defendant, be United States consul. If a Moor is defendant, a Moorish consul. That's it right there. That doesn't convey a private rights of action. That conveys a non-private right of action. Those are known as extraterritoriality clauses or compensatory clauses or extraterritorial consular jurisdiction clauses. So if you have an extraterritoriality clause, the treaty delegates the power to a consul. So once a treaty delegates a power to a consul through an extraterritoriality clause, it doesn't convey a private rights of action. I don't know what else to say about it. Because that's the principle. It's not my opinion. They can look it up. That's the principle. Private rights of action, non-private rights of action. I gotta explain the principle. They can look up private rights of action, non-private rights of action. Extraterritoriality, extraterritorial consular jurisdiction, or compensatory, because it was called compensatory before it was called extraterritoriality. And they can look that up. They can look it up. Not Abdullah Bey. It has to, if it doesn't convey a private rights of action, no, an individual. Now, the treaty, the 1783 definitive peace treaty between Great Britain and United States conveys a private rights of action. So individual, that be a British subject here, United States, because it conveys a private rights of action based on the substantive language in the treaty. Because if in the treaty would be who would have the authority, a Moorish consul, or whether they will be there, be very specific. It is very explicit on whether it conveys a private rights of action or it doesn't.
Islam, could you define a private right of action and a non-public right of action?
Yeah, a private right, an individual. That's it. An individual, a private rights of action whereby an individual can use the treaty, and an individual can invoke the treaty. An individual can bring a case using the treaty. An individual, not an officer of a government. An individual citizen can do it if it's a private right of action. But if it doesn't convey a private right of action, individual citizen can't do it. It has to be government official, and that's expressed in the treaty. A consul, a Moorish consul. It's not my opinion. Look at treaties. A Moorish consul. If there is if a Moor shall injure or wound or kill a United States citizen, a Moorish consul. If a Moor is a defendant, it's in the language, the substantive language. The Moorish consul has the authority. The treaty grants that to a Moorish consul or United States consul. Not so. Therefore, once that's through that language, it doesn't. It doesn't convey a prior rights of action. So no to that. Individual Moors can't. No. I know what they've been doing. I'm not talking about what they've been doing. We know what they've been doing. I'm talking about what it is based on the substantive language in the treaty, not what they've been doing. I don't go by what they've been doing. Let's go by the substantive language in the treaty, not what they've been doing. Because they're going to get emotional with that. Let's go. So, because we have to show the world that we are maturing. We go to the next one.
Next misconception at large. United States became a corporation in 1871 via Act of Congress.
All right. It's one of my favorite ones, brother. I'm ready. You know I am. All right. So United States became a corporation in 1871 via the Act of Congress. All right. We have United States in the preamble. We, the people of the United States. We have Article 1, Section 1 of the United States Constitution. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States. Article 2, Section 1 of the United States Constitution. The executive power shall be vested in the president in President of the United States of America. Article 3, Section 1 of the United States Constitution. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. All right. Vested means inherit. Congress is a creature of the Constitution. That the United States Congress, the United States Constitution does not give Congress the power to legislate, gives power to legislate, but not to legislate a new United States and therefore delegate the United States judicial power that's vested in the one Supreme Court, the United States executive power that's vested in the President of the United States of America, the United States legislative power that's vested in Congress. The Constitution does not give Congress that power to delegate or transfer the legislative, executive, and judicial power of the United States to a new United States. Let's go to the Constitution. I don't want to see no act of, that's an act of Congress. Congress is a creature of the Constitution. This is not challenging. It's not. Let's go to foundation. This is the supreme law for them. This is the supreme law. Congress has legislative power. So United States became a corporation in 1871. So let me continue. So delegates of the 13 states, remember, they were operating under Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union. Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union. So you have they signed the Declaration of Independence, 1787. Articles of Association, drafted the Articles of Confederation in 1777, and ratified in 1781. This Article 1 of the Articles of Confederation, the style name of this confederacy shall be the United States of America. All right, so it said it became a corporation. All right, there hasn't been another Constitutional Convention. There hasn't been another Constitutional Convention though, because I know it was one in 1787. There's you know what? There's been another Constitutional Convention since 1787. There's been another Constitutional Convention where delegates of however many states that would existed at this time of this other Constitutional Convention, so there was a second Constitutional Convention where delegates of however states that were existing at the time of this second Constitutional Convention convened, and they drafted a new constitution and they had ratification conventions. There were however states that were existing at the time of this other Constitutional Convention. You're not being facetious. I'm doing that to let you know that has to take place. That has to take place. To become, the United States becomes, you mean the United States that I just read, that's the United States that's drafted in the United States Constitution became what? Do what? The United States that's in the preamble. We the people of the United States became what? Through what? What I'm saying is that foundation's not there. The legal jurisprudence is not there.
Right.
This is very important because if we can let someone tell us this and run with this, then they can just say anything else to you and you're going to run with it, and something else to you and then you're going to run with it. And because you don't have the foundation to which to examine, you've got to have the jurisprudence. Where's the constitutional jurisprudence mind to examine such a statement? Weigh it. If we're talking about growing into self-governance, we must be groomed into a legal jurisprudence mind. And we're showing the world that we don't have it.
Yeah.
All right, we go to the next one.
Next misconception at large. Moors are U.S. non-citizen nationals.
All right. Moors are U.S. non-citizen national. Let's talk about how did this status come about? In the 1890, the peace treaty between United States and Spain ended the Spanish-American War.
Mm-hmm.
Spain ceded Spanish possessions. Spain territorial sovereignty over her Spanish possessions, Cuba, Philippines, Virgin Island, Samoa, Puerto Rico, Guam. Spain ceded those territories to the United States in the 1898 treaty. In the treaty, it states not the status, the political status is not of those in the territory, Puerto Rico, Guam, Virgin Island, Samoa. So the status, the political status is not determined in the treaty. So what's in the treaty, the United States can determine. So that's what the United States did. United States Congress, via the treaty, legislated a new status, political status, for those in Puerto Rico, Virgin Island, Cuba, Guam, Samoa, Philippines. And that new status would be U.S. non-citizen nationals. Those are unincorporated territories, which means, what do you mean by, Abdullah? Why you say unincorporated? Because they were not incorporated. Article 4, Section 3 of the United States Constitution, the admission of new states. That's the admission clause. They were not brought through due process, incorporated into the United States Constitution through the admission clause, Article 4, Section 3. So they're called unincorporated. Kentucky, California, not even Hawaii, through annexation and now statehood. Now, what? Through the Article 4, Section 3, now brought into the body of the United States Constitution through Article 4, Section 3. So they're incorporated. So those are unincorporated territories. Guam, Puerto Rico, Samoa. I'm breaking down the process. All right, so that's inferior. That's what drafted. That's through legislation. United States legislated that. United States legislated. Come on, United States Congress legislated that to those who were under Spanish subjects. Those who were under Spanish control now became under United States control through war, Spain ceding that. That's inferior. That's legislated. Your Moorish nationality ain't legislated by the United States Congress. But that political status is. They just didn't know, that's all. They just didn't know. All right, so we go to the next one.
Next misconception at large: Moors are non-citizen nationals.
Is that the same one?
No, one is U.S. non-citizen nationals. This
all right, I got you. All right, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Moors are non-citizen nationals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the previous one reads as a misconception: Moors are U.S. non-citizen nationals. Mm-hmm. See, but this is non-citizen nationals. That's no of what though? It doesn't just non-citizen. Chinese non-citizen nationals, French non-citizen nationals, German non-citizen nationals, but Russian non-citizen nationals, Burkinabe non-citizen nationals. I mean, he says non-citizen nationals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the construction. It don't see. All right. Remember, the other one reads U.S. non-citizen nationals. What that means? That they're under what? The jurisdiction of what? United States. U.S. non-citizen nationals, which means that United States Congress drafted, created that status. But if it just says non-citizen nationals, doesn't identify to what nation state or which you're non-citizen national of, because that's you're not U.S. non-citizen national. We go to the next one.
Another misconception at large. We, the people of the United States, in the preamble of the United States Constitution, consists of the Moors and means the people of the land.
All right. Once again, where's the evidence? So let's look at we, the people of Ireland. We, the people of Spain, or the people of Spain, the people of Ireland, the people of Senegal. See how specific that is? It's what? Defining the national identity of the people. We, the people of the United States. It doesn't read we, the people of Morocco. It reads we, the people of Morocco. And then so where's the they're disguising it. I'm not making this up. I regurgitated it. I'm talking about what I regurgitated. I remember I taught this 27 years to thousands of people. So when I was challenged on it, this is what happens. This is what conscious Moors do. I'm one of them. I raised my hand. I was one of them. This is what conscious Moors do. What I'm doing is I'm not making up. This is what I was taught to do, like regurgitating. So when you're challenged, this is what conscious Moors do. Conscious Moors don't present evidence. They do, well, it's coded. They disguised it. See, that's they're hiding who we really are. So that's why they didn't put. I'm not making this up. This is Abdullah Bey for 27 years. I'm not making this up. See, it's coded. So they disguised it. You know what I mean? See, because somebody would ask me, why doesn't it read Morocco then, Abdullah? You know what I mean? See, because they disguised it. They really don't want us to really know. You know what I mean? So that's why they put United States there. Remember, I didn't present evidence. I just regurgitated it. I'm not making this up. What I'm saying, I'm not making 27 years, thousands of people. I'm not making it up. That's what conscious Moors, this is why we got to get out of that. We got to break that. You're going to pass that on to your children. You got to break it, disguise it, and it's encoded, and we got to present evidence. The people of Burkina Faso, the people of Ireland, the people of Spain, drafted in their constitution. What? Defining the national identity of people. I'm just gonna give examples of how it should be structured. With this conjecturing and innuendos and suppositions, and we are standing on shaky ground, man.
Yeah.
Quicksand, Israel.
Yeah.
That's quicksand. We go to the next one. Now, and I'm presenting it in this manner, I mean, with this tone, Israel, to get their attention.
Yeah. You gotta spark the fire in them.
Spark the fire in them.
Another misconception at large. The Moorish Americans are nationals of the United States federal government and not state citizens of the several states.
All right. Evidence. All right. How did the Moors become nationals of the United States federal government? Let's look at. I'm going to read. Right. Not to answer that question I pose. I'm going to. The Treaty of Amity, Settlement, and Limits between the United States and His Catholic Majesty. His Catholic Majesty, 1819. That's the Spanish Crown. This is the treaty that where Spain cedes West Florida and East Florida. Spain cedes West Florida and East Florida in 1819 to the United States through this treaty, known as, once again, the Treaty of Amity, Settlement, and Limits between the United States and His Catholic Majesty, 1819. Article 4 of the treaty. The inhabitants of the treaty, means Spanish subjects, the inhabitants of the treaties, or the inhabitants, the inhabitants of Spanish subjects or any other inhabitants, the inhabitants of the territories which His Catholic Majesty cedes to the United States by treaty, ceding the inhabitants now, the inhabitants of the territories which His Majesty cedes to the United States by this treaty shall be incorporated in the Union of the United States as soon as may be consistent with the principles of the federal Constitution and admitted to the enjoyment of all the privileges, rights, and immunities of the citizens of the United States. So where's that for the Moors? The Moors shall be, where's the treaty for between the United States and Morocco that has this similar language? All right, so if there isn't one, right, then that is known as subjugation. How did we become part of the United States? Was there a unification treaty, or was there a treaty between Morocco and the United States that has this particular language like this? Was there the treaty between the Louisiana Purchase Treaty, which is not a peace treaty? The Louisiana Purchase Treaty is not a peace treaty. This is a peace treaty because this was this is amity. Because remember they were at war. Oh no! Not this. That's Spain. That's Spain. That's 1898. That's 1898. They were not at war. So this is not a peace treaty, because during this time, Spain and the United States were not at war. All right. And for this treaty, 1898 treaty, yes. Now you have the Louisiana Purchase Treaty. France and the United States were not at war. So that's a purchase treaty, whereas France cedes the Louisiana territory to the United States. One of the articles in the treaty, Israel may know the article, whereby it has a similar language here, United States, the French subjects shall be incorporated into this similar language shall be incorporated into the Union of the United States. That's similar. So that's how they became. That's how the subjects of the French subjects became citizens of the United States. So the Guadalupe Treaty between Mexico and the United States, Mexico, and the United States. There is an option clause. There's an option clause in the Guadalupe Treaty whereby the Mexicans, California, Nevada, Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Arizona. The Mexicans had 1 year. It was an option. They had an option. The option was they had 1 year to decide whether to remain a Mexican national or become a citizen of the United States. If they had to, if they decided to remain a Mexican national, they had to report that to the Mexican government. If they did not, by the mere ipso facto, mere operational law.
Yep.
All right, ipso jure, right? Ipso jure, by mere operational law, that has the option, they would become citizens of the United States. If they didn't report, they would become, not through immigration, through the Guadalupe Treaty.
Yep.
That's how they became citizens of the United States. And if they did not, if they reported, they could remain in the territory. They would just be Mexican nationals in, in the particular territories where they are. That's an option clause. So we're just showing, pointing to various language in the treaties of how Mexicans became citizens of the United States, or Spanish subjects became citizens of the United States, or French subjects became citizens of the United States. All right. So how did Moors become federal? How did that happen? All right. Well, we go to next one.
Another misconception at large. Citizen means corporation and national means flesh and blood being of the land.
All right. That they've been watching European freemen. That's where the study is narrow. The study is narrow, so there's no international studies. So there's no international broad studies. It's that European freemen groups study. Because I already know where this came from. European freemen group. So let's take them to the world. Let's take them around the world. All right. Let's broaden them. All right. Let's look at this from an universal international view. All right. Citizen is domestic. Citizen of the Burkina Faso. Citizen of Russia. Citizen of Germany. That's domestic. National is as a broader meaning in the international arena. So I'll give you an example. A Russian in China, a Russian citizen in China will be known as a Russian national. A Russian citizen in Russia would be known as what? A Russian citizen. A Chinese citizen in Russia would be known as a Chinese national. A Chinese citizen in China will be known as what? A Chinese citizen. I'm just trying to be very clear as I can, Israel.
Yep.
A French citizen in Germany would be known as a French national. A French citizen in France would be known as a French citizen. So showing that it's domestic because they're in France. They're in France. Yeah. You see. So we in France. We're in France, right? And we got the French subjects, French citizens in France. Hey, look at those French nationals. No, they're not. No, they're French citizens. They're in France. Why are you calling them French nationals? They're in France. They're in France now. They're in France. Why are you saying French nationals? They're French citizens. Oh, now we're in China. We're in China, and we see French. Oh, look at those French citizens. Proper would be French nationals. It's just so we got to broaden it. We got to take them outside of. We got to take them outside of European Freedmen Group teachings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that way, Israel, when they speaking to those throughout the world, they're not speaking this, and they're gonna be laughed at. I don't want them to be laughed at. If they speak this, they're gonna be laughed at. We go to the next one.
Misconception at large. 35 Moors, along with 20 European sons, established the United States Constitution as a beacon light to stop the 100 years of wars between Moors and European colonists.
All right, so once again, Israel set the stage for this presentation. How good is the evidence? Is there evidence? One, before you go into how good is the evidence, you got to first have evidence. Right. Like, you don't ask the question, how good is the evidence, if you don't have evidence. So first is not how good is the evidence. First is, where is the evidence? Once you have the evidence, is how good is the evidence? But we're not asking how good is the evidence. Where is the evidence? And what would be examined to determine this? Constitutional minutes. See, 35 Moors, along with 20 European sons. All right, let's go again. Delegates. Delegates of 13 states. There were no new states that were invited. This was about what? Why did they meet? What was the proposal? John Jay's proposal was to revise the Articles of Confederation, existing document, an existing governing document. The Article of Confederation and Perpetual Union, drafted in 1777 and ratified by the 13 the states, signed by delegates of the 13 states. This was to revise the Articles of Confederation. Delegates met. James Madison, delegate. James Madison, delegate of Virginia. Alexander Hamilton, delegate of New York. Not James Madison, not Alexander Hamilton. John Jay, delegates. You have to say delegates. Why? All right. Because they were representing their states. They were there not representing themselves. But you say, well, James Madison was at the Constitutional Convention. I didn't know James Madison represented himself. What do you mean, Abdullah? You said James Madison was at the Constitutional Convention. You didn't say James Madison, delegate of Virginia. My fraternity. I went to my senior year, my college, senior year. I went to my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, National Convention. They were the only ones that there were meetings where only delegates could attend. Delegates. So they were delegates representing their particular chapters. They were appointed by their particular chapters. And they were what? Known as delegates. It's very important. So this is understanding government now. So by speaking this way, you're showing the people that you know government. By saying, oh no, you mean James Madison, delegate of Virginia. See, once you say that, oh man, he understands government.
Yeah.
All right, so we have roll call again. Yisrael Bey, delegate of so-and-so ill, delegate of King Al Bay, delegate of Tans Bay, delegate of, where's that at? Remember, delegate of a state now. There were delegates of states that were there. Delegates signed the Constitution. This is the grave misconception, brother. I taught that I taught this for 27 years. In fact, my European co-workers, I want to thank them. I want to thank my European co-workers for laughing at me. He said, damn, this is an idiot. Abdullah Bey is an idiot. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Why would I thank European co-workers for laughing at me? I'm gonna explain. After I explain, you're gonna say I'm not it. You're gonna take it back. You're gonna take y'all gonna take calling me an idiot back. I guarantee you. They laughed at me because they asked me to prove it. They asked me to prove it. They weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. When I couldn't, they laughed. They mocked me. Now, why am I not an idiot for thinking them? Because I thought about it that night. And I said, they got a point. That made me stronger. That's why I'm thinking them. I'm not an idiot. We go to the next one.
Another misconception at large. Individual Moors can correct their own status as well as the status of others individually.
All right. This shows that we don't know government. This shows the world. This shows presidents and prime ministers and Charge d'Affaires and international jurists, political science, consuls and consul generals and ambassadors that you don't know government. Say that to them. You're showing them you don't know government, that you don't know the legal and political framework of nationality. The Chinese nationality is defined within the Chinese nationality and sovereignty legal and political framework. One of the elements, a primary element of nationality within the legal and political framework of nationality is one's legal bond or link to a state. Let me continue. You have the political framework of nationality. Involves what? Defining the national identity of the people in governance. So you have the political framework of nationality and sovereignty. Now you have the legal framework of nationality is creating laws, nationality laws, and execution of those national laws. So where's this individual? We're talking within the legal framework, within the legal and political framework. Because the example, what happens? What happens if the Chinese nationality is removed from the Chinese, or if the legal framework, the Chinese legal and political framework for Chinese nationality is dismantled? That means China's being subjugated. China is being subjugated. China is under conquest. China's being conquered. So now you have the conquering power of China, all right, is now subjugating the people. And now what? Forcing the people into the conquering powers legal system in China, that's now they develop in China, and then placing the Chinese into a new citizenship framework. So now the Chinese, they're still Chinese now, but the political and legal framework for the Chinese nationality is what? Dormant. So therefore, the Chinese nationality doesn't have the what? Because it's out of the legal framework, political legal framework, legal bond. So you can't say, well, yeah, Chinese nationality is one's legal bond to China. No, it doesn't. No. Because China's subjugated. We conquered China. We subjugated. China lost their sovereignty. So you can't say, oh yeah, Chinese nationality, one's legal, that's the Chinese, that means the Chinese legal bond to China. No, it doesn't, because China lost its sovereignty. So once a nation state's sovereignty is lost, the political and legal framework for their nationality is also lost or dormant. Because the primary element of nationality is one's legal bond to a state. And it's that legal bond to a state that gives, now you're talking about, here are the elements. Legal bond, rights and duties, state's jurisdiction, diplomatic protection. So what gives Burkina Faso the right to address an abuse of Burkinabe in Russia, Burkinabe in Iran, Burkinabe's nationals in China? What gives Burkina Faso the right to address abuses of Burkinabes in any parts of the world? What? That Burkinabe national has a legal bond to Burkina Faso. That's why. So therefore it gives what? But it gives, so now, but Burkina Faso can state jurisdiction. But the primary legal principle or element is legal bond. Our legal bond or our sovereignty has not been restored. So our Moorish nationality does not. It means our legal bond to Morocco, because it has yet been to be restored. This is a universal principle that I'm speaking. You go anywhere in the world and say the same thing. Just change the nationality. Is that we hadn't studied nationality in the legal and political framework. We only know nationality in the social culture aspect. What is nationality in the social culture aspect? Language, festivals, rituals, celebrations. That's nationality and social culture. But now you talk about nationality in the political framework, nationality in the legal framework. Now you talk about the creation of a state and the protection. But when that's lost, that means the loss of the sovereignty, then the legal bond or legal link is what? Broken. The loss of sovereignty, conquest, through conquest or colonization or subjugation, it breaks the legal bond, because now the conquering power is going to what? Now has control. It's going to what? Bring, force those that they're conquering into their legal system and place them into a new citizenship framework. So the Chinese, the legal bond that they have to their nation state is what? Broken. How do you restore or mend how do we mend our legal bond, our Moorish nationality legal bond to our mother? It's known as reversion to sovereignty as a remedy to subjugation. You can have all the paperwork you want. You can have 1,000 Moorish nationality cards. You can have 1,000,000 Moorish paperwork document, until our Moorish sovereignty is restored. You cannot have a legal bond to a state who's lost their sovereignty and yet to be restored. That's a fundamental, that's a primary element of nationality in the political and legal framework anywhere on this planet. We have to raise them up, Israel, so they can speak to ambassadors, consuls, consul generals, international jurists, law professors, international law professors, chargé d'affaires, presidents, prime ministers. Right now, they can't. They don't have the knowledge.
So someone asked,
so someone says, Abdullah, you don't know what you're talking about. That means I close my mouth. Then I would ask you to form it into a claim now. So once you say, I don't know what I'm talking about, now you would have to form, I don't know what I'm talking about, into a claim. So what would be the claim of I don't know what I'm talking about? No, the claim would be, I don't know what I'm talking about. The claim would be nationality does not mean the primary element of nationality is not legal bond to a state. That would be your claim. That is not. Then you have to support it.
All right.
That's it. We're not doing it back and forth. You're gonna form a claim. You're gonna form a claim. Then I keep quiet. You form a claim. You're not gonna do a Fred Astaire on me. You're not gonna do a You're not gonna do a Greggy Hines on me. All right. You have a claim, and then you present evidence to support your claim. That's it. And I keep quiet. And you got 1 minute to at least state something. At least what I'm saying is you have 1 minute to at least present to say exhibit so and so. At least one exhibit so and so. But if you just pontificating and tap dancing, nah, we're not doing that. Yeah, because I don't need to do that. I just go to the support, give this the support. All right, we go to the next. You want to read something?
Yeah, someone in the chat they asked. They said, "So are Moors stateless?"
All right.
Oh man.
No. I'm gonna explain why. The reason why Moors are not stateless because they are under United States subjugation. Let me explain this. All right. Stateless means you're not under subjugation of any state. We under subjugation. We have our state is Morocco. That's our state, but we've been under United States subjugation. All right, evidence, Abdullah. Moors are not stateless. Evidence. I want claim. Moors are under United States subjugation for over 200 years. All right, evidence. Our birth certificates. Evidence. School records. Not stateless. There's evidence. Birth certificates, school records, employment documents. So you're not stateless. You're under subjugation, but you're not stateless. The question is, are more stateless? I said no, and I'm supporting. That makes that United States. We talk in international law, not Abdullah Bey. Look up stateless person. The Hague Convention of Stateless Persons. That's a multilateral treaty. Read it. What are the elements that constitutes a stateless person? We don't meet the elements. We are under United States subjugation, but not stateless. That's two different statuses, my brothers and sisters, because that would apply a different application of law now. Subjugation, not stateless. We were forced into the United States legal system and placed into a new citizenship framework. That's subjugation. That's not statelessness. Read the Hague Convention of Stateless Person. Thank y'all. Bring them on now. We go for let's fill some questions now. Bring them on. It's knowing the elements. We don't meet the elements.
So a question just to clear it up. What is political status? What constitutes political status?
All right. Well, nationality is a political status. All right. And all right, let me give it. I mentioned the political framework. Sovereignty. So let me give the principles. You know how to do it. I gotta give them the principles. I gotta give them the framework and elements. Sovereignty is the legal and political framework that recognizes, formalizes, and institutionalizes nationality of the people. Here we go. I gave you all that. Now I'm gonna give you an example. The people of Senegal, that is drafted in the Senegalese constitution. I'm not making it up. They can look it up. The people of Senegal. You're talking about the political framework of nationality and sovereignty. Involves defining the national identity of the people. There you go. The people of Senegal. That's within a constitution. Nationality is a political status. What mean that? So the Senegalese nationality is the legal status of the Senegalese people, and it what the Senegalese nationality what forms what a bond between the individual Senegalese individual and the state. Senegalese state. That's a political status. Nationality is a political status. Nationality ties you to a state. That particular nationality, the Chinese nationality, the Chinese nationality does not tie one to Burkina Faso. The Chinese nationality is not the legal bond, one's legal bond to France. The Chinese nationality is not one legal bond to Germany. The Chinese nationality is what? One's legal bond to China. So the Moorish nationality would be what? But because we lost our sovereignty, I already explained it. You cannot have a legal, I broke it down, gave a clear concept of conquest, meaning that we've been subjugated on the United States. United States forced us into their legal system and placed us into a new citizenship framework, an international law that is known as acquisition of nationality through subjugation. You have to know international law, Israel. That's why we're here.
Yep.
I know international law. That's why I can explain it and give you the elements and give you the principles of the international law. They know UCCs. They know UCCs. They know whatever United States Statute of Laws or whatever they've been. United States Code or whatever they've been studying. That's the limit of their knowledge. And that's where the problem is. Because our remedy does not lie there. Why? I'm gonna give you the why. Because of our original status, here we go. George Washington's letter to December 1st, 1789, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, a standing sovereign. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship between His Imperial Majesty of 1787 and 1836. You have treaties, you know, the 1952 case between France and the United States and the International Court of Justice. France stood on Moorish treaties. There were 10 treaties between the bilateral treaties between Morocco and 10 European powers between 1631 and 1892. That points to our original status. So you start there. You have to start with our original status. To know the proper application, the remedy, you have to know the original status of the people. It's reversion of sovereignty. Why? Because of our original status. I mean, we had a state. We lost our sovereignty, so we're seeking to regain our sovereignty. We revive our more statehood. That's an international legal process. Knowing our original status. Our original status, we have our current status, and our current status has been over 200 years are being under United States subjugation, whereby United States forced us into their legal frame system and placed us into a new citizenship framework. And when we've been using United States codes, and let me say this too, because I didn't say this last night, and I didn't say this last week. I think I said this last night. Yes, all right. They've been, all right, the lessons that conscious Moors have been teaching that they got from European freedmen groups, that the birth certificate, marriage license, driver license, and anything you sign subjugates us. That's not so. There's nothing you sign that subjugates you. You're already subjugated. Let me explain. I got you. There's nothing that you signed. There's nothing you can give me. There's nothing, no documents, no instrument that you can bring before me and say to me that that's why we're subjugated. No, that means you don't know international law. The native people of Hawaii didn't sign anything. Show me what they signed in 1893. Show me what the native people of Hawaii at the time that United States subjugated the Kingdom of Hawaii. Show me what they signed. Show me what birth certificate that they signed, meaning that they lost their sovereignty. They were forced into the United States legal system. There's nothing that they sign makes them that. No birth certificate that makes them, that subjugates them. It's the act of the United States subjugating them. United States acquired the territory by subjugation. So United States is exercising territorial sovereignty, which is the element of that is what's subjugating them. Not nothing they signed. There's nothing that we have to know international law of secession, change of sovereignty of a territory and its effects upon the nationality of the inhabitants of the people. Loss of sovereignty, territoriality, law of secession, acquisition of territory, acquisition of nationality due subjugation, acquisition of nationality due secession, nationality and general secession, and its effects upon the nationality of the inhabitants of the people. We have the change of sovereignty and its effects upon the inhabitants of the nationality and inhabitants of the people. These are international law principles. I'm breaking it down, giving international principles that you can look up yourself. So before you say, I don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up. Before you say, I don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. You've been in UCCs. UCCs. That's the limit of your knowledge, UCCs. You're going to say that I don't know what I'm talking about only based on you only been in UCCs. I'm giving you international law. All right, we go to the next one. All right, that's why I wanted to be thorough with this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Misconception at large. Individual Moors can create a government first and then bring other Moors into their government second.
All right, let's deal with the principles. And Sheik, this is what we were talking about before we started about principles. That what will bring us together. The knowledge of principles of governance, knowledge of principles of constitutional self-governance, the rule of law, due process, political legitimacy, the will of the people, principles. That's what's going to bring us together. Absent of those principles, we're not going to be brought together. Let's be real. What does it? Principles. That's what does it. All right. Our being in close proximity, working together. We mean working together. You mean working together on principles. You work together on principles. It's the principles you use to work together. That's what brings us together. Without these principles, knowledge of the principles, it ain't happening. That's what. All right. The people of Burkina Faso. That's a principle. The people is a political phrase denoting popular sovereignty. So there's principles that they learn about popular sovereignty. There's a constitution, so there's constitutional self-governing principles, the rule of law, due process, and other legal principles that's embodied in a legal system, a political system. Those are principles. Without that knowledge, we ain't coming together. The principle of nationality and the political framework and legal framework of nationality, the legal and political framework of sovereignty. It's the knowledge of the principles that's going to bring us together. Without this, we're not coming together. All right. What I say, I can say anywhere in the world. I go anywhere in the world because you're talking about principles. How does it work? What I'm saying is just go. How does it work? How does they got principles. They have drafted the Constitution. Oh, they're operating. That's how it works. I'm saying something that's universal.
Mhm.
They're common guiding principles. All right, so one of the principles that's taught in political science is political legitimacy, which means that there must be the consent of the people, the will of the people. So you're talking about creating a government first without the will of the people, without political legitimacy, then bring Moors into the government second. See, there are no principles. And oftentimes what happens is that they don't embody what? Due process. So, oh yeah, they didn't get some last night. And so they're mad at you. Are you kicked out? Where's the due process? I'm not making this up. I'm not, what I say, I don't make up. I've heard these conscious Moors do. I've heard stories. We have to grow into knowledge of principles, rule of law, due process, understanding legal systems, understanding legal principles.
Source of law.
Source of law, application of law, operational law, the rule of law, conclusion of law, understanding what rule of law is, and due process, which are major. All right, so we can go to the next one. We want to emphasize principles. We have to emphasize principles.
Yep. Misconception at large. Once you claim your Moorish nationality, you cease to be a United States citizen.
False. That's false. I laid the groundwork, and I'll just repeat. I laid the groundwork. I say once you claim. So somebody claims tomorrow. They claim tomorrow.
I don't know where they got that from.
They claim tomorrow. Oh, that restores the Moorish sovereignty. Oh, I didn't know Moorish sovereignty has been restored?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so hold on. They claim tomorrow. Oh, so they have a legal bond to Morocco? They claim tomorrow, whatever paper they put in, that they got a legal bond to Morocco. How? She's still asleep. She's still in a coma. You still subjugated on the United States. Our mother is still in the hospital. Our mother's been in the hospital in a coma for over 200 years. United States has had our mother in the hospital for over 200 years. In international law, that is known as subjugation. United States has continued to force us into their legal system and placed us into a new citizenship framework. You declaring whatever paperwork you fill out doesn't remove that. We have to restore our mother. We got to revive our mother. We must resuscitate our mother out of her 200 plus years of a coma. In international law, that process is known as reversion to sovereignty, which is a legal international law process. I'm making it plain. They can look these things up. This is Misconceptions. These are misconceptions because they don't know the legal and political framework of nationality, legal bond, rights and duties, state's jurisdiction, diplomatic protection. Those are four of the major legal bonds, legal elements within the legal and political framework of nationality. We're not so. The social cultural aspect of nationality, language, festivals, holidays, rituals, ceremonies, garbs, headdresses. That's the social political national head, Moorish fairs, Moorish turban, Moorish language. That's all right. So now what gives it its protection when it's placed within the legal and political framework of nationality and sovereignty? Here we go. Drafted in a constitution, the official language shall be and or legislated national holidays, national holidays, or the national dress. It's what? When it's legislated now it becomes what? The national dress, national language, national holiday, national festival, because it's what? Either drafted in a constitution and or legislated. That brings it into what? The legal and political framework of nationality and sovereignty. I'm being universal. Go anywhere in the world. I can teach this anywhere in the world. They can't teach what they've been pushing in Israel. I guarantee you, they can't. They can't. Because you're talking about, now what? Here you go. International jurists, ambassadors, consuls, consul generals, international law professors, political scientists. Can you talk to them with these misconceptions? But I can. I bet you I get their attention. But I'm breaking that right now. I can talk to them.
Yeah.
It's right. If I can talk to them, and guess what? I guarantee. I told Israel, I guarantee you, Israel, they gonna ask you what your age is. I guarantee you. They will ask Israel what his age is. I guarantee you. Man, young brother like that, sharp like this. Man.
So someone said, so how do we unite and work on these elements?
This is the how. All right. We don't have the shema. We don't have the letter. Yes, I don't have the. Oh man, so I don't have the. This is one way. Education. We do have a plan. We do have a plan. Tell you what. Let's do that next time.
Okay.
Let's do that next time. Because I like to be more specific because they still so they can see it though. Right. All right. So let's do that next. Let's answer that next time.
All right.
Yeah, because they're not going to get it because I gotta break it down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mo. Islam. We got Brother Sharif Yisrael Bey on. Yes, sir.
Apologies, I meant to be on much earlier, but I had to take one of my students to the ER. They got during class. They got injured, so. But
yes, sir.
Happens. Yes, occupational hazards,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Glad you came.
All right, right on. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've been almost 2 hours. We'll go for a few more minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All
Is
right.
this another one, right, Israel?
Yes, another one right here. Yep. Another
Mhm.
misconception at large: Moors can correct their denationalized, dehumanized, and subjugated status as Negro, Black, and colored by simply going into a United States court and declaring their Moorish nationality.
All right. Russia does not have the power to define Chinese nationality. The Russian courts do not have the power to define Chinese nationality, to determine who can be a Chinese citizen or not. The Russian courts don't have that. Once again, we have to, and nationality in its legal and political framework. The Chinese nationality is defined within the legal and political framework of Chinese nationality and Chinese sovereignty. Russian courts do not have that power to determine, decide, litigate on Chinese nationalities. Chinese nationality. I just want to give, what I'm doing, I'm using a state that exists, that's operating, states that had not lost their sovereignty, so they can get it, they can see it. They can see it. They don't know the legal political framework of nationality. Only Moors have that. And Moorish government structure, once we restore our sovereignty, is restored. United States does not have that. All right. If Russia is defining Chinese nationality, that's an act of war. That's an act of war. I mean, Russia is defining Chinese nationality. That's an act of war.
Yeah. Violating territorial sovereignty.
China has that sovereign power. I'm just breaking it down, like basic with the principles.
I got a question.
Yes.
Just for clarity, again, I just came on, so forgive me. Like I said, I just came on, and in listening to what you just spoke to about this misconception, my question, I guess, and it would be also to be more so for the audience, for the listening audience.
I got you.
And forgive me if this has already been done, because it could have already been done.
Right? No problem.
Can you define two things? One, or define one thing and then describe or explain the other. And that is, one, define Moorish nationality, what it is, and then two, how is it acquired?
All right. One, you look that we have to look to our ruling before we fell. We got to go to our operating and our sovereign capacity before we fell. We said to define Moorish nationality, we have to go to our operating. So we have to look back. All right. When we were a standing government. All right. Now there can be a new, once our sovereignty is restored, and through Moorish legislation, and our being in a restored sovereign state. But today, as we're speaking, because we've lost our sovereignty, the Moorish nationality has been taken out of the Moorish nationality and Moorish sovereignty legal framework, because it is defined within there are elements, there are universal elements. And there are four major elements that are universal for nationality within the legal and political framework of nationality and sovereignty. Legal bond means one's legal bond, so what be one's legal bond to Morocco, Moorish nationality. But that can't be now because our sovereignty has yet to be restored. Then you have rights and duties. You have state jurisdiction. You have diplomatic protection. So those elements do not apply now to our Moorish nationality. Why? Because our Moorish sovereignty has yet to be restored. Because so those will be the four major elements, and then through legislation, we would determine whether through legislation, through naturalization laws, Moorish naturalization laws. Now we would determine whether we would embody within our Moorish naturalization laws just solely and just sanguinis. So we would take these universal principles of citizenship in international law of just solely and just sanguinis and determine, because all nation states don't have just solely. Means birthright citizenship. All nation states don't have that. That has to be legislated and determined within the parliament or Congress of a nation state. So I'm just giving, because they're already set principles. Then you also have international law. There's recent international laws that deal with nationality. So states are restricted. There's limitations on states when it comes to their nationality definition because of the agreed upon multilateral treaties of nationality and human rights laws. I want to give them, Sharif, I want to give them universal principles that they go anywhere in the world and speak this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, let me reframe. Okay, can you just simply, very simply, define Moorish nationality for the audience?
All right, Sharif, you said very simply. Mm-hmm. I'm defining by elements. I did it already.
All right, so let me ask this question then. Okay. In American society, we have German Americans, Italian Americans, and Irish Americans. They have their nationality. What would be the difference?
All right. When one says they're using American in a connotative sense, American is not a citizenship political status within the United States Constitution. So what it means when someone says German American, that means a German who is a naturalized citizen of the United States. What that means. All right. So within the United States nationality laws or naturalization laws, a German who is a United States citizen, that means that German renounced his or her allegiance to Germany. And now has pledged allegiance to the United States. So therefore, when they say they're German Americans, they're only using Germany in the socio-culture aspect. Means that they no longer have a legal bond to Germany. Their legal bond to Germany was given up when they pledged allegiance to the United States. They renounced their allegiance to Germany. So they are United States citizen, a German who's a naturalized citizen of the United States, a French who's a naturalized citizen of the United States, an Italian who's a naturalized citizen of the United States. Mm-hmm. I'm using the principles and elements. Mm-hmm. That's how you define.
Okay, now going with your thought about you used, in your particular example, immigrants who would fall under naturalization, right? So let's stick with that. Black's Law Dictionary, as you already know, I'm preached to the choir, 3rd edition, 4th edition, and 5th edition, when it defines nationality. That quality of character that arises out of the fact the person belongs to a nation or a state. That's the first sentence. Second sentence says nationality is determined by determines political status. specifically with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines one's civil status. Then the third sentence says this: nationality is acquired either by birth or by naturalization. So based on what you just said, a German American is still a German American. They still have their nationality. Am I correct?
No. All right. Let me clear it up. You have. So you weren't here earlier. All right. This is good. You have the socio-cultural aspect of nationality.
Mm-hmm.
The socio-cultural aspect of nationality, language, rituals, ceremonies, hairdressers, holidays. That's the socio-cultural aspect of nationality.
Yes.
You have the nationality within the legal political framework of nationality.
Okay.
The political legal.
Let me ask you about that. Can you describe very specifically the legal aspects of nationality?
Yes, I can.
Go ahead.
The legal framework of nationality.
Go ahead.
The legal framework of nationality involves a nation state legislating nationality laws and executing nationality laws. That is the legal framework of nationality.
But how can that be? Follow me. How can nationality from a legal perspective be defined under the parameters of nationality law? Which one comes first, nationality law or nationality?
All right. Once again, you're alluding to nationality from a consanguineous ancestral lineage. Let me explain. Consanguineous, ancestral, genealogical, pedigree, parentage, lineage sense.
That's not what I did.
I'm saying they tell me you're saying they're still Germans. Yes, they are. But we're talking about legal link.
Okay. So
they will not have a legal.
So that's what I asked you. I said, can you define or describe the legal
I did already.
Okay, hold on. Okay. But you used the term nationality in the definition.
So Sharif, I did already.
But I asked you a simple question, and
I know that, and I answered it, Sharif. I answered it.
Hold on, brother. All I asked was, which comes first in your description?
All right, Sharif, I'm answering it.
Let me finish. I asked, and I'm doing this from my understanding.
No, and I'm answering it. I'm answering it. I'll do it again. I'm doing it again.
Well, if nationality laws determine nationality, hold on. Which comes first?
All right. Once again,
brother, let me finish, brother. Which comes first, the nationality or the nationality law?
All right. Once again, we have nationality, the consanguineous, the pedigree, the genealogical, the ancestral, the lineage. Sense of nationality is first. It's first. When you're talking about government structure, statehood structure, protection, international relations, diplomatic protection, legal bond. Now you're talking about the legal and political framework. Now that which is the consanguineous now is placed within the legal, is protected within the legal and political framework for people of Burkina Faso. That is the political framework of nationality, whereby the state is now defining the national identity of the people within the Burkina Faso Constitution, as an example, French Constitution, or German Constitution, or Senegalese Constitution. The consanguineous sense is first. But when you're talking about protection, legal bond, rights and duties, state jurisdiction, which means that you have Burkinabés in different parts of the world. What gives Burkina Faso the right to intervene when a Burkinabe is accused of a crime or abused, and when what gives Burkina Faso the right? Because that Burkinabe national in China or France or Russia has a legal bond to allegiance to Burkina Faso. And so therefore, Burkina Faso can assert Burkinabe's jurisdiction to the national, through their embassies and consulates, and therefore afford them diplomatic protection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's my question to that. Are you familiar with the term territoriality?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, now since you said it, I got to now explain it to people.
So how does territoriality play into this example that you gave? The example you gave was a Burkinabe national in China, and they get accosted, arrested, or whatever, right? And you're saying that that Burkina Faso has a claim, but that claim is done through their equivalent of Department of State or diplomatic authorities in China, right? Here's my issue with that. We all know, and that includes here in the United States, right? Diplomatic issues, diplomatic matters are a privilege granted through the State Department, and you must register with the State Department.
All right. You have what's known and just called diplomatic protection. So the Burkinabe in Russia has a right to consular notification, has a right. So Burkina Faso, mean China. China does not have the right to deal if a Burkinabe is injured by Chinese officials in China. Mm-hmm. France does not have the right to intervene with that matter because of the principle of diplomatic protection. It is in because the Burkinabe has a legal bond to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has the right, not Russia or France. The Burkinabe has a right to consular notification. So therefore, now the Burkinabe, Burkina Faso consulate is now notified through diplomatic channels. That is an element of nationality, known as one of the elements of diplomatic protection.
I got a question. Matter of fact, for the audience, I'd like the audience to do this. I'd like you to Google, as we're talking right now. Google this name. The name is an individual by the name of Otto Warmbier. OTTO, first name, last name, WARMBIER. Otto Warmbier. His case was very interesting. And this was a real life situation, real life case. It happened not too long ago. He was a United States citizen in North Korea. And the things that you just mentioned did not work for him and did not apply either. And the United States couldn't do one thing about it. This man...
I don't know the case, though, so I can't speak to it. Okay. I can't speak to it, yay or nay, because you just said this. It unapplied. I can't speak to it, but I can't. That's not fair, because I can't. You didn't lay it out, and our time is short too. So I cannot speak to something that is not really laid out where the facts are not clearly laid out. I cannot speak yay or nay. I cannot analyze if the facts are not clearly laid out.
Okay, dear brother. We can Google the facts right now.
No, but I'm saying our time. Israel has to get up. Understood. Our time.
Understood. I understand.
So it's going to take time to analyze the facts, and just some quick stuff is not how it's done. We want to teach them how to study. So you said Google. That means we have to lay out the findings. What are the findings? And that takes some time. And it's not 1 or 2 minutes. Can't be done in 1 or 2 minutes. to be fair and also teach the students how to the audience.
But one thing can be done real quick.
One
thing can be done, and I can tell you this right now. Otto Warmbier was a United States national that was in North Korea. He played a prank where he took a picture off a wall in a government official building. He got arrested by North Korean officials, jailed by North Korean officials, and he died there.
All right.
Okay. So what I found on that,
yes, sir,
from Cornell International Law Journal, North Korean detention of U.S. citizen, international law violations and means for recourse. So it actually mentions, I'm not going to read it all, it's the abstract. It says specifically this article analyzes 1, violations of consular law and international human rights law as applied to the detainees, such as standards for arrest, investigation, trial, and detention, and 2, whether viable legal recourse exists.
Right.
So that's the consular notifications and the violating of the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations.
But
in violation, so it does apply because
absolutely. But
it means it wouldn't apply. Yeah.
But it doesn't still remove.
Right.
It doesn't still remove that United States has diplomatic protection, right? Still doesn't mean that work or not work. What I'm saying is that he has a right to consular notification. That was the whole point I'm making. That we talk about an element. I was mentioning the element of nationality, of diplomatic protection. His being jailed doesn't remove what I said. The element is still there, which means that I'm saying that what gives the United States the right to even have, for him to have consular location, is that they have a legal bond to the United States. I'm talking about the element is still there.
Yeah, how's it?
So the case doesn't remove the fact about what I said about the elements.
Right. Because the case is let it be known that international violations were triggered.
Right. So losing it doesn't remove the fact of the elements of nationality. Right. He hasn't still. Right. Because the implication is that his losing doesn't mean that the elements didn't apply. The elements do apply.
No, sir. That's not what I said, and that's not what I am.
I'm saying the implication. I didn't say you said. I didn't say you said. I didn't say said. I didn't say said. I didn't say said. So be clear. I didn't say said.
That either.
All right, that we good. Don't you say that. We good. We good.
I didn't imply that either. One last question. About the founder of the Moorish Movement, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali, did he restore our knowledge of Moorish American nationality?
Absolutely. Question. By teaching us, he restored the knowledge. So answer yes or yes. The answer is yes. So I go yes to the answer. Yes.
Question. Based on what you said nationality is, why did the Prophet in 1928 have the Moors voting at the local, regional, and national levels in the city of Chicago?
My brothers and sisters, I don't want to get into Abdullah said anything. Please look it up. No, hear me out. I don't want them to say Abdullah said anything. My brothers and sisters, the audience, look it up. So it's not based on Abdullah said. I want them to look it up. The elements of nationality in the political and legal framework. So it's not Abdullah said. We do not want to end. We'll be ending soon. I don't want to end with resting. I don't want it to rest on Abdullah said. I'm charging the audience to look it up for themselves.
Yeah, every piece of evidence.
I don't want it rest on based on I said. I don't want to rest on that.
The evidence is there, yeah. So definitely check that evidence.
Yeah, that's why? Because that's the day's program. That's the subtitle using evidentiary standards. So if it's based on what I said, that kills the whole program of evidentiary standards. Look it up.
So can I get an answer to the question?
No, my brother, I just was responding to him based on what I said.
Okay.
I
didn't ask you a question. I asked you a question.
What's the question, brother? What's the question?
The question is, based on what you said nationality was, why did the prophet have the Moors voting
All right.
in the American political system?
You have what's called subjugation. The native people, the Hawaiian votes. The people of Hawaii vote in United States elections. Let's follow. Why do the people of Hawaii, which was the kingdom, why do they vote? Why are they able to vote? United States subjugated Hawaii. United States subjugated Hawaii and later annexed her. In 1900, in the year 1900, Article Title 8 of the United States Codes, one of the international application of law that the United States used based on, because United States territorial sovereignty, because the United States acquired territorial sovereignty through subjugation. And one of the elements of territorial sovereignty is that the conquering power or subjugating power, that being the United States, now has what? Control over the inhabitants. So therefore, based on that subjugation, United States legislated, forced the native people of Hawaii into the United States legal system and placed them into a new citizenship framework. Title 8, the year 1900, Title 8 of the United States Codes. That's why. That's known in international law. Look it up. Acquisition of nationality. Acquisition of nationality through subjugation. Placing a conquered population forcing a conquered population into a legal system and placing them into a new citizenship framework. That's all international law.
But dear brother, you didn't listen close. Listen close. Don't cut me off, please. You didn't answer the question. The question was, why did the prophet instruct the Moors to vote?
All right.
They weren't forced to vote.
So
why did he instruct them to do so?
Tell them what I did, Israel. Please tell them what I did.
He gave the political status of the people being under subjugation of the United States. So through United States exercising the territorial sovereignty and legislating a citizenship status for us denationalized Moors, right? That brought us in as citizens of the United States, triggering the elements of the right to vote. So that's the answer, subjugation. So he gave you an example using the Kingdom of Hawaii, how the Kingdom of Hawaii was annexed through subjugation, and now that the citizens, the people, the inhabitants of Hawaii, now they vote within the United States governmental framework or whatnot as well. But it's still against their will. Like they didn't freely choose to become a United States citizen. There's no contract between Kingdom of Hawaii and the United States bringing the Kingdom of Hawaii citizens in as United States citizens. So everything is against that. With us, it's basically under protest. Everything is kind of under protest right now.
Okay, now I'm glad you said that. You said under protest. So why wouldn't the prophet continue the protest by refusing to vote instead of instructing the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America to vote?
Yeah.
Israel, I answered it. We got, it's almost time for us to go. I answered it by principle. Yeah, I answered by principle.
The element of the question is, why did the prophet Noble Ali instruct Moors to vote, right? Yes. So we answered that. Why wouldn't he just
continue the protest? Because you mentioned
he did. He did continue. He continued the protest by letting us know that we are Moors. Letting us know that our national
and that's major. That's a so Sharif. Sharif. He answered it. So you have to. So we have to. Yeah. So we have to. So let's understand what Israel said. Understand. So I want the audience to understand what Israel said. Israel said he did by teaching us who we are. That's major, because you're talking about our being stripped of our cultural identity and nationality by France and Spain. United States maintaining that. That is major. So the fact that Jew Ali, through structure, lessons, teach us who we are, that's a major, major protest.
But brother, why, again, you guys don't answer the question, why would he instruct the Moors, 3,000 plus, to vote in the American system?
Under subjugation, we're citizens of the United States.
But brother, hold on. How is he continuing the subjugation by instructing the Moors to vote?
No, he's not continuing the subjugation.
Then why would he instruct them to vote?
I said we're under continued subjugation.
But were we forced to vote, or we hold on.
Yes, subjugation is for the element of subjugation.
All right.
When that, hold on, listen.
Let me go right to it, Sharif.
When that right is routinely taken from our people.
Our sovereignty was removed. Jew Ali and his works, because bringing in people, restoring the sovereignty of our people is a process. So he did that so that they could still be active within the United States jurisdiction, but by his continuing to teach us who we are. I'm talking about elements of international law, reversion of sovereignty. Look it up, my brothers and sisters, and elements of reversion of sovereignty. By teaching us who we are, presenting the Moorish flag to us, our Moorish fez and turbans. Major. Those are elements of reversion of sovereignty. Yes, he said vote. I'm saying, but as we continue, do that, brothers and sisters, as I'll continue to work. He didn't say it that way. I'm talking about his actions. His actions are the elements of reversion to sovereignty, brother, which is an international law legal process.
Now Let me
finish, brother. Let me finish.
Go ahead, dear brother.
But we're going to be ending soon, because we got to go. I got to continue to teach international law. If they don't know international law, they're not going to be able to see the elements. This is why I continue to bring up international law time after time. So we got to do a presentation, Israel, on the elements of international law so they can understand the elements, the audience here. They don't know international law, so all that is new to them. I get it. All right, so we have to wrap it up, bro, because we got to go. All right, so our brother Sheik, is he
Yeah, I'm here, brother.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up because I got a call. Bacola called me several times. I got to take the call because So I just want to thank you for bringing us on. Well, that's why I didn't see you up there. Thank you for bringing us on. And we want to come back we want to give a thorough lesson on international law principles. Okay, the legal framework, political framework of nationality and sovereignty, territoriality, acquisition of nationality through subjugation, acquisition of nationality through subjugation, cession, general nationality and general secession, and the effects upon the inhabitants, nationality of the inhabitants of the land, loss of sovereignty, change of sovereignty, and the effects upon the nationality of the inhabitants of the land. So we'll deal with those very principles. Acquisition of territoriality, how the United States acquired territory, what are the elements of territoriality. We want to really break those down. We did a presentation on that. Israel will reevaluate our presentation that we did on that back in April, and then we can do it on here. Yep. Yeah, I think that was helpful by teaching them an element, because this was not the presentation.
Yeah.
So this is not the presentation that we. So it'd be fair for us to come back on and break it down with specificity of the various international elements regarding us, the subjugation, conquest, acquisition of territory, loss of sovereignty, territoriality, unte poste distis juris, law of secession, reversion of sovereignty, post liminium. Break that. Break all those down.
Indeed.
Okay, brother. No problem.
All right. So, Sharif,
No
I thank
problem,
you,
brother.
brother.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. Sheik 7, thank you
Yes, sir.
again for having us. This is our first time. I hope it's not our last.
Absolutely.
We greatly appreciate you.
Definitely
It's not.
appreciate it, bro.
Yeah,
And
yes, sir. I greatly appreciate you for coming on. And I want to say this: I greatly appreciate you for even answering the questions and having the dialogue. You see what I'm saying? Because this is what we have to do to
Absolutely.
bring clarity amongst brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? It's not a means of necessarily combating each other or seeing
Right.
who has the biggest
oh
kahuna. That's
no,
not what
no,
we're
absolutely
about.
not.
What we
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. So what we're about is healthy dialogue. And this has been a healthy dialogue, in my honest opinion. This has been a
Yes.
healthy dialogue. And I would like to continue healthy dialogues just like this, because it doesn't always have to be a debate. It can always be
Correct.
just a dialogue, just like we just had. So
Absolutely.
I welcome
That's
you
right.
back. You know what I'm saying? And I welcome back your perspective because, as I said before we came on, when we were on the back chat before we came live, Let's Think podcast is not a situation where we subjugate or we circumscribe people's ability to demonstrate their perspective. Now,
Correct.
when you do that, you must be ready for questioning. And
Right.
nobody is beyond questioning. So the only
Absolutely.
thing that doesn't
That's
like
right.
a question is falsehood, is a lie. You know what I'm saying? So the truth
Right.
always likes a question, or at least someone
Absolutely.
who feels or believes or has faith that they're standing on truth. So you know what I'm saying? I welcome you back, and we can continue to
Right.
have healthy dialogues just like this. So those who are, who would believe, or those who want the information, can have it
Mhm.
and can have both sides of the pendulum, both sides of the coin, and we can continue to move forward and find out ways that we can continue to work with each other and continue to give this information to the public in a clear and honest way. I think
Yeah.
that's the gist
What I
of
what
Let's
I what
Think
I learned,
podcast
Sheik, though,
in
is
any
not
way.
oftentimes, Sheik, is there's those who don't won't understand the answer because they don't know the principle. So this is what I'm saying is that we got to break down the principle. That's why I must have said principle 100 times. We got to break down the principles and elements because if they don't know that and they won't even understand the answer.
Right.
They don't even understand how to even answer the question.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. 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 So, brothers, I thank you for coming on. I thank you to the listening audience. I hope everyone got some good information. And questions do what questions do and make you think.
That's right.
That's what questions are asked for, is to make you think. You know what I'm saying? And I think we all should be thinking, because I'm gonna tell you something. When the Prophet Noble Drew Ali bought this movement and established this movement, those who were there in the beginning, they learned a lot. They were given a lot. However, us in these days and times, what we have to do is continue to what? Extend the truth and the learning. So we have to continue to dialogue. We have to continue to place these things on the floor and have these type of dialogues. And I loved this dialogue tonight. I learned so much just listening. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Because as a host, it's not my duty to do so much talking. I'm always listening because I'm always a student. So I appreciate you,
Yes.
brother Abdullah Bey. I appreciate you, brother Yisrael Bey, for your presentation. And brother Sharif Anial Bey, you're a regular on the platform, and I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
your question because I'm gonna tell you, it's making me think, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the listening audience has something to go to their pillow with tonight and think about.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I welcome the international law dialogue and breaking down the principles and the elements. because these are the type of things that need to be done. Break down the principles and the elements.
Very
Bring
much
it
so,
from his
man.
perspective.
Very much
Bring
so.
it from his perspective, so we can all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna let y'all brothers go. I don't want to continue to hold y'all. Everybody in the listening audience, honors and gratitude for your participation. And
Absolutely.
we'll definitely have these brothers back on, and we'll continue to demonstrate these measures because we all need them.
Absolutely.
Islam,
Islam.
Islam,
Brother Sharif, I
Islam.
appreciate you. Thank you for the questions because
Likewise, brother.
that's needed for the audience. The questions are needed for the audience, which gave me opportunity to give them the international law framework and then when in answering the questions, because this has been a element that's been missing in this Moorish movement.
Yeah, and it triggers critical thinking as well. So yeah, critical thinking.
Absolutely.
Islam,
Absolutely.
Islam. So I love all of you brothers.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
and
Love you
love.
too, bro.
And to the listening audience, we love you all.
Absolutely.
And see you back next time. Monday, we'll be back with Brother Solomon S. Sheik again with the
All right.
number 33. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. And of course, we'll have Sharif Anyal Bey back
For
on the
sure.
stream and we'll get
For
right
sure.
to it. Islam,
Absolutely.
Islam, Islam. Honors and
Yes,
gratitude,
sir.
more. Love y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.